Hello there and welcome back to another video. So today I'm going to be telling you about some of my recent favourite makeup that I got from Aliexpress. Now I don't just mean favourite, I mean I was almost knocked off my crushed velvet. It's not velvet, what is it? Oh, anyway, I was almost knocked off my chair with how amazing the quality was of these products, especially considering the super duper low prices. If you're going to be doing any late night perusing on AliExpress and you want to get some tips for what's good, I hope this video will help you out. Okay, so the first product was by Ucanbe, and this is one of their dazzling liquid eyeshadows. They do have a whole range of magnificent looking shades, but so far this is the only shade that I've tried. This is very similar to the Stila Glitter and Glows, infused with millions of super sparkly glitters, and it just looks like a whole kind of snack. I got this in the shade Light Salmon. I don't know where that name's come from. So this kind of appears to be a kind of graphite, kind of silver shade, but because it's infused with so many of these silver and also some other colour kind of micro glitters, the predominant glitter shade is silver, but there are like lots of other colours in here that I can kind of see twinkling. It looks amazing, but it also feels amazing. It dries down relatively fast and it lasts all day. So I'm definitely interested in trying one of two or maybe all of the other shades soon, and I would definitely recommend if you are a fan of these glittery liquid eyeshadows. Okay, so next we have the Cheese Blush. So I definitely went into trying this product not at all convinced that it was going to be any good. It was just because it kind of looks like kids makeup. I suppose I didn't really take it that seriously. But was I wrong? So this is actually the most beautiful icy pink blush. She is extremely kind of subtle. I do have her on today. I do have a highlighter on as well. So I feel like the highlighter is probably taking centre stage, but I feel like you can probably see a little like just pop of pink. I only applied a very light kind of sprinkling of her today, but you can definitely build her up and you can really make that pink a little bit more noticeable. But generally I would say that she is a very kind of subtle but very angelic and beautiful soft product. She is either a mineralized or a baked formula. I'm not quite sure which, because I don't really know how you kind of separate those two formulas out. She feels super soft, super finely milled. She is not chalky at all or powdery. She kind of almost sinks into the skin, and by doing that she has a kind of a skin smoothing effect. So not only does she look beautiful pink, she also helps to kind of blur out your skin, which I will be eternally grateful for. I think that this particular formula would be extremely flattering on more mature skin types. You know, if you've got a lot of pores or texture on your skin, she would definitely not accentuate the texture. I do have mature skin and I do struggle a little bit with highlighters, because I do find that, you know, the more blinding they are, the more they will highlight all of my flaws and texture and everything that I don't want highlighting. But I do feel like this product, I mean, it's not super blinding or anything, but yeah, it definitely smooths over all of those flaws that I just want to be smoothed over. Few other shades, I think there are 4 shades in total. I've already purchased the peachy one. I went ahead and purchased that as soon as I tried this one out and realised actually how good she was. So if you're not a fan of this kind of very light icy pink shade, there are 3 other shades that you could potentially pick. Okay, so next we have my recent new favourite highlighter from AliExpress. This is by the Hudamoji brand, and I do have her on today. She has this absolutely gorgeous kind of flower effect. She definitely comes off looking a lot lighter on the cheeks than she looks in the pan. I definitely was expecting a light champagne shade, but once you kind of blended her on, you end up getting what I would consider more of like a pearl highlighter shade. So I think that this particular one would be really complimentary for fairer to light skin tones. They do have another shade which is much kind of richer. When I first, oh sorry, no, are you bored here? Like So when I first watched her, I was a little bit worried because she did feel a slight bit gritty and rough. Definitely not as smooth and creamy as I was kind of hoping for. However, when applied with a brush on the face, she looks nothing but wet look sheen. I feel like this highlighter really gives you that kind of glass skin effect. So you're expecting that she's going to be quite powdery on the face, but she's just not. She literally just kind of melts in and she looks so gorgeous. She's also one of those kind of more subtle highlighters that when you're looking at me face on, you can't really see her, even though I did apply her on the apples of my cheeks. But when I turn to the side, that's when the magic happens. I wouldn't necessarily say that this highlighter is blindingly glowy, although she definitely could be with, I'd say, 3 or 4 applications. I would definitely say she would suit you if you like a more subtle highlighter, but she would also suit you if you like a blindingly glowy highlighter, because you can definitely build her up and you can make her as blinding as you desire. Also, just to mention, when you look at her in the pan, I'm not quite sure you're going to be able to see this, but like I can definitely see lots of glitters. So I did expect that I was going to see little glitters on my face, but once you kind of applied her with your brush, you can't really see glitters. I don't know, again, it's kind of like some crazy highlighter magic trick. The glitters in the pan, but they don't transfer onto the face. So I don't know where they go, but maybe they just evaporate into thin air, or probably they're all over my room or something. I just don't know. Okay, so sticking with highlighters, we have another one that I really enjoyed. So this one is by HANDAIYAN and it's the Diamond Highlighter. As you can see, this is the most beautiful light champagne shade. She applies absolutely beautiful. I would definitely say that she would fit into the category of being more of a blinding highlighter. I don't really think she's all that subtle. So this is also available in a few other shades. There's a pink one which I also have as well, which I really love, but I just don't tend to reach for that one as much as this shade. They've just got a couple of other deeper shades as well, if I remember correctly. So there are a few different options to pick from if peachy champagne isn't your jam. She's just absolutely beautiful for the price, and I'm coming from a place of having spent £30 on a MAC highlighter, on Ofra highlighter. You know, I've got some higher end highlighters in my arsenal, and I would definitely say that this, and actually even the Hudamoji, they're no less good. Like, they're just not. They're really good. So I would definitely recommend those 2 highlighters to you if you're a fan of highlighters. Okay, so moving on to eyeshadow palettes, we have an absolutely good Gina one. So this is one that I recently reviewed. It's called the Good as Gold palette and it's by the Ucanbe brand. I'm still not sure if I'm pronouncing that correctly, and I'm almost certain that I'm not. So as you can see, this is a beautiful golden toned kind of palette. You can create very natural kind of everyday wearable looks, or you could take this to the next level and you could really create the most ostentatious, glamorous look. The mattes were pigmented, smooth, creamy, and they blended absolutely beautifully. What I really like about the metallics is you get a whole different range of formulas. You've got foiled pigments, you've got pressed glitters, you've got an extremely creamy one down here which I kind of suspect is a gelée formula, and then you've just got a couple of more kind of regular metallics. All of them are absolutely beautiful. Again, very pigmented, very smooth, creamy, easy to work with. I just had so much fun playing around with this palette. Also, one thing to mention, I know that it may appear as if there are a relatively equal number of mattes to metallics within this palette, because that's certainly what I thought, but we actually only have 3 mattes in the palette, which are this one, and this one. This black down here is the most beautiful satin. It's so easy to work with but super pigmented. But what I really like about it is it's got a sheen to it, and for an all over lid shade it's perfection. This palette costs £3.89, worth every single penny. If this palette was being sold for £10, I would still recommend it to you as being a really good palette. Okay, so next we have 2 beautiful eyeshadow palettes by Ucanbe. So these are part of their, I'm not quite sure what the range is called, but I always call it the Fruity Cocktail palette range. A lot of the palettes are inspired by fruits. So I don't know where I got the cocktail part from, but maybe I was just craving a cocktail at the time, I don't know. So I have the Fruit Punch palette and the My Honey palette. So the My Honey palette is probably, I'd say, oh, I don't know, I love actually both of these the same, and they are extremely different palettes. But yeah, I think that this My Honey one is definitely one of my very favourite Ucanbe palettes that I've ever tried. As you can see, this one is kind of similar to the Good as Gold palette by Ucanbe in that we do have a huge focus on golden, bronze, kind of yellowy gold kind of shades. I absolutely love everything about this palette. Again, the mattes were pigmented, smooth, creamy, easy to work with, as were the metallics. I just feel like all of the shades within this palette have been really thoughtfully thought out. Does that make sense? Really thoughtfully thought out. Yeah, I think it makes sense. Each of the shades really complements one another. You can create a whole different range of looks with this palette. Again, you can have a very natural, kind of nude, everyday look, or you could have like a super sensational, glamour puss kind of look if you're going out in the evening, which I know none of us are going out in the evening anymore. I mean, most of us probably aren't even going out in the daytime anymore. But I mean, the idea of going out in the evening seems as crazy to me as going out on an all-night bender, because, you know, I've not done that since university. So anyway, guys, maybe we'll be going out again soon. I, for one, am really hoping that I can go to Wagamama's for my birthday, which is at the end of February. I know that it's probably not going to happen, but I'm just like praying to the lockdown gods that maybe lockdown restrictions will have been eased by the end of February, but probably not. Okay, so the second palette that I really love from Ucanbe is the Fruit Punch palette. As I said, the Fruit Punch and the My Honey palette are, you know, they're at complete polar opposite ends of the spectrum. As you can see, this is an extremely colourful, bright palette. I don't know what I was expecting, but I must say I was absolutely amazed with how pigmented these shadows were, particularly the lighter shades. The shades are so pigmented, just so easy to work with. You can have so much fun with this palette. I know that it's not going to be for everyone, but if you're someone that likes to really experiment and play around with different colours on your eyes, but you know, you don't want to spend a whole lot of money on that kind of palette because maybe you're not going to be using it every single day, then I think this would just be such a good one to go for. This palette and the My Honey palette costs, I think they're under £4 each. So, I mean, super affordable, worth every single penny. Again, if this palette was sold for £10, I would still be recommending it as being a really good palette for the price. So, oh, I just had so much fun with this. By the way, I absolutely love this blue shimmer. It just looks so beautiful on the lid. However, I would recommend going in with a wet brush just to get the very most out of it. Also, just to mention, this palette is an all matte palette with the exception of this blue. I'm not quite sure why they decided to kind of go down that route of making it an all matte palette. It would also be nice if they created like a sister palette to this that would be the same shades but all kind of shimmer slash metallics. That would be a real treat. And then if you could like use them both together, I mean, what would have been perfect would have been if they created like a mega palette with these mattes and with the same shades in the metallics, and it was all just one palette together. I mean, I totally would go hard on that palette. And I know that Nady from PLUMPMAX, he would get hard over that palette probably. But okay, so to finish off the video today, I have two lip products that I've really been enjoying, and I've just realised actually both of these from the FOCALLURE brand. Don't we just love a FOCALLURE? FOCALLURE, yeah. If you want to fuck around, that's fine. If you want to fuck up and down, that's fine. But don't fuck around my vagina. Okay, so the first product is one of their Staymax lipsticks. So I was a little bit confused with this because it is sold as being like a velvet finish, but it was actually like definitely a satin. I was a little bit disappointed with it because I was expecting like velvet finish, but actually the satin finish is beautiful. So, I mean, I was only disappointed for like 5 seconds. Just to mention that, because if you are buying this expecting it to be a velvet kind of finish, it ain't. So this is in the shade Song Cran, and I'm definitely not pronouncing that correctly. So this is an absolutely beautiful, kind of like a peachy orangey shade. So I was expecting that this would be a little bit more on the peachy side, but no, she definitely does have a lot of orange to her. The formula is creamy. It feels luxurious on your lips. It lasts really well. It doesn't have any weird smells to it. Really also appreciate the packaging. So this definitely has like a feeling of weight to it. It feels quite good quality, and my favourite thing is, oh, I was sure it had a magnet. Oh no, it doesn't have a magnet. I don't know, I was sure it did. That's a bit awkward, isn't it? Anyway, this is a super good quality lipstick. They have a whole range of shades which actually, unfortunately, aren't that extensive. I do find that with Aliexpress lipsticks, like one thing that I've kind of been noticing is there's not a huge selection of shades ever. They do tend to keep it quite vanilla with the shades, so often you'll see a lot of reds, a lot of nudes, peaches, light pinks, but that's kind of where it ends. Like I want to see some, you know, like lime crime kind of, you know, wild out there edgy shades. I want a sludgy green. I want a cool tone brown. I would absolutely wet my pants if they released this same formula but in loads of like off the wall kind of shades. I would love it. Okay, so the second lip product by FOCALLURE is actually a lip gloss. This is also from their Staymax range. They released a load of products within this Staymax range, and I must say that the lip products that I've tried, and also I've tried a cheek tint. I've also got their foundation, which I've not yet tried, but I'm hoping that this is also going to be like super good, as the other products have been in the same range. But anyway, what I'm trying to say is I would definitely recommend any of their products in the Staymax range. The quality is really good, and so far I've had nothing but good things to say about them. So this is one of their lip glosses. It's in the shade Rose Quartz. This is gorgeous. Like I recently tried out a Pat McGrath lip gloss, and I was expecting that as I was applying it, like mockingbirds would appear, peacocks would appear, they would burst into tune, and they would perform an extremely extravagantly choreographed dance routine. But that didn't happen really with the Pat McGrath. I love the lip gloss, don't get me wrong, I thought it was great, but I don't really think it's any better than this FOCALLURE one. This went on beautifully. It wasn't super sticky. It had pigment, so you know you could definitely see this beautiful kind of pinky kind of base colour. It had so much glow to it. It made my lips look really plump and juicy, and it just felt super comfortable. Like it didn't feel like heavy, like it was kind of weighing my lips down or anything like sometimes the lip glosses can feel. So all in all, this was absolutely fantastic, and I would definitely recommend, and honestly I would definitely say that this is on par with the Pat McGrath lip glosses. The only difference for me is the Pat McGrath definitely has a beautiful kind of vanilla smell to it. So yeah, that definitely is nice, but it's not like £15 more nice. Do you know what I mean? Anyway guys, I am going to go, but I hope that you've enjoyed watching the video, and maybe you've got some tips and inspiration as to, you know, some products that are actually really bomb diggity down good. So I'm going to go. I hope you have a lovely rest of the day, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye!